Let's see. Can everyone see the slides?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so I'm here to talk about the Layout Builder ecosystem. I am Diane Nova on Drupal.org, and I was one of the Layout Initiative co-leads. We got Layout Builder added to core, and and I'm also a software engineer at Red Hat. So what I'm going to talk about today is first, what is Layout Builder? And then what contribution modules are people using for Layout Builder to improve their Layout Builder experience? And then a little bit about what we're working on next and ways to get involved, and then some Q&A. So Layout Builder is a tool to allow content editors to build content the way that they need. The Layout Builder initiative leads are Tim Plunkett, who's at Acquia, and myself. And so what is Layout Builder? Layout Builder is a tool to allow you to build page content with sections. So you don't need to be tied to full page designs and hard-coded templates. It allows content editors to create different layouts for different individual pieces of content. So you have one-off page designs that you can create. And also a content editor can create a content type layout, a standard layout for all content of a certain type without needing a developer to create the template for that content type. So Layout Builder is stable, but it's not currently enabled by default in the standard Drupal installation, so you need to go and turn it on right now. Okay, so this is an example of an idea of what we were aiming for with Layout Builder. So these are some mock-ups from the beginning of creating the experience. And you can see we have a settings tray on the right that allows you to select from the block library. And we have on the left, you can see that you're in the layout tab and you can save or cancel your layout editing. In this particular case, you can see as an editor that you're editing the layout template for all recipes for the site. So the alternative would be that you're editing an individual piece of content. So recipes, individual layout. But this one is the global template for all recipes, and you can see that you can add a section and then you can add blocks within that section. So content editors can create new sections and add new blocks that way. So here's another example of what this looks like in practice. So here you can see you can configure your different sections, add sections as a content editor, and add blocks within those sections. So the general overview is that you have the whole page layout is just the content block, and then you go in and you add a section and add blocks within it to different regions. So each section has its own layout. In this case, you can see an example of a 4-column layout. So here there's region first, region second, region third, and region fourth. And an important reason for those regions being named, as you can see on the right, this accessibility feature allows someone who can't necessarily even see the layout to move blocks around and edit them within the interface. So the history of the layout initiative, the layout initiative really began a long time ago early on in Drupal's history, but the plan that led directly to Layout Builder and Core was decided on around spring of 2017. After a plan was made, a demo was created by summer of 2017, and then the experimental module was added to Core by that winter. Then it was marked stable for production use in spring of 2019. And now we're really close to having Layout Builder on by default in the standard Drupal install. So that's an overview of what Layout Builder is and the basics of the core module. But it's also really important to add on to the layout builder experience. So that gives you the basics of what you need for content editors to be able to build. But there are many modules that the community has developed around layout builder, and those are really useful. So one of the modules I found most useful is layout builder restrictions. Really, if you have more than 12 or so blocks on your site, this one can be really important for keeping the content editor experience really easy for the users. So this module allows you to limit which blocks and layouts are available for each content type. So when you go to add a section, you would normally be presented with every layout that exists on the site and every block that's available for a content editor to add within their permissions. But layout builder restrictions allows you to specify which layouts are available for a certain content type. So if you only want sections to have, say, a 2-column option and a 3-column option plus, a 1, if you want just simple layouts for sections, then you can limit that here. But if you have pages that need much more advanced layouts, then you could specify those layouts being available for the other content type that needs more advanced layout structures like galleries or slideshows or tabs. So it's useful for the layouts. It's also really useful for limiting the blocks that are available because you might have a wide array of blocks available on your site, views blocks, other blocks you're using elsewhere, but they probably aren't being used by all the content editors on, say, your marketing pages. So this allows you to restrict which block types are available in each content type. So layout builder styles. This module will allow your content editors to select from a drop-down list of styles for sections and blocks. So I've seen this used when you need like a full site width style for a certain section. Say you want the background to be blue in a section and you want to have 3 columns within that section to add different calls to action. Then you can add a style for that section and select it from this dropdown. The nice part here is that these styles are pre-coded, so your content editors aren't just deciding to add CSS to the configuration. They're selecting from styles that your branding team has made already and putting them onto the sections or the blocks. So this one is, I've seen, has been necessary on most sites. Let's see, layout builder modal. So this one is really useful if your content editors are doing a lot of content editing inside of the blocks that they're laying out. So if you, if content editors are mostly laying out pre-existing content, then this isn't as necessary. But if they're doing a lot of text editing, if they're doing a lot of media library editing, then layout builder modal can be really handy to really give them that full editing experience. So they aren't restricted to just the width of the settings tray when they're editing their content. Because while you can open the settings tray wider and drag it open, it's not necessarily intuitive to be editing all content within the settings tray. So layout builder modal can help you out there. So layout builder browser. This one is kind of one of the things that we were aiming for when we first created layout builder, which was having different icons or possibly a preview of different blocks available. So this module allows you to add icons or images of your different block types, and it makes it easier for content editors to find which block type they need. So normally you'd be just browsing through a list of text of block types, and that can be really confusing for content editors. They don't necessarily know what that text correlates to on an actual block. And this can display, you can put in an image of a preview, or you could put in just a simple icon to show, okay, this is just a basic text block. This is an image. This is a video type. This is a quote. And you can make the feeling a lot more like other simple site editors like Squarespace or Wix. by adding just some icons or preview displays to your blocks. And then Layout Builder Lock. This module is used to limit the actions that can be taken on certain sections in a layout. So normally a content editor would add all of the sections on a given page or in the default layout, and then anyone editing would be free to adjust those, edit them, move them around if they have permissions to edit that content layout. But sometimes you might have content where you want an editor to edit content, say above a certain area and below a certain area, but the middle area really needs to stay the same across all content of that type. So Layout Builder Lock is really useful in that. So if you have, say, a 3-column layout that has a view display that you want to put into the middle of your content, you can set up the default layout with that section and then set up sections around it. And then you can lock the section that has the content that you don't want content editors editing. So this is a really useful module if you need to be a little more restrictive and not as freeform. And then Layout Builder Direct Add. This is one that I think just kind of helps improve that content editor experience to get to a simple, easy, quick process. So instead of clicking Add Block and then selecting from the settings tray which block types you'd like to choose from, this gives you your most commonly used block types up front, and then you select more to find more. So if you find that editors are only mainly selecting from 3 or 4 different block types, then this can be really useful so that they can get to those quickly and they don't need to go through that process every time. If your editors are selecting from a wide variety of blocks all of the time, then this is probably not as useful, but I found that most commonly people just have 3 or so block types that people are adding really often. So this is really handy in that case. And then a layout library. So this module will allow you to define pre-built layouts for content editors to select from on any content type. So normally you would just have the one default layout, and then you could modify it as a content editor and change the layout up, but you wouldn't have other types to choose from. But say you have a content type that has like 3 standard layout types, like a certain type of product page, and you have maybe a couple different product types that you want to display them, maybe a special type, then you would use Layout Library to define some pre-built layouts and configuration that your content editors can select from. And then when they go to edit the layout of the page, they'll be able to choose from those pre-built content type layouts, and they won't have just the one default. And then section library is really useful if you have kind of standard sections that you want to add to a bunch of pages and you don't want to make content editors rebuild those sections every time. So, you know, if you have a standard call to action display that contains an image and some text and a button, and you want to just create that as a section and reuse it, content editors can use section library to create their own library of reusable sections. And so this actually allows the content editor to go in, create a section, and then add it to the section template library. So then it becomes available kind of like the media library across the whole site for different content editors to use across their different pages. Okay, so that was kind of an overview of some really helpful modules that can help improve your layout builder experience. And then for the roadmap for Layout Builder, things that we have coming up next, the most exciting thing is that we are planning on being in the standard installation, hopefully by December of this year for 9.5. That's what is currently being recommended. So that's what we're looking forward to. So as of the 9.5 release, Layout Builder should be enabled by, or I should say, will hopefully be enabled by default in standard installation. So that's December of this year. And then some of the other big topics that we have for improving the site editor experience are things like block visibility controls. So being able to see whether blocks are available to people based on their role. So if you have a block that is restricted to certain role visibility, things like block visibility controls can help there. Right now, it's not immediately obvious when you add a block who it's always visible to. So that's something that we'd like to get more people involved in and working on. And then full site layout editing is a topic that people have mentioned often. Not many people are really in need of it right now, which is why it hasn't been pushed more heavily. But if it's a topic that you're more interested in or invested in, then it would definitely be an interesting discussion to have. So we have the issue there for discussing what people need out of full site layout editing. And essentially what this would do is replace the block UI with Layout Builder. So it would allow content editors to edit the global content like the header and footer or sidebars from the layout mode. And it would remove that distance in the block UI and create this system of a whole page layout mode. And that's what the full site layout editing is for. So how someone can get involved. So we could definitely use more people participating in the layout initiative. We are hanging out in the Easy Out of the Box thread in Slack, and we would love for more people to come and join us. And let's see. We definitely need every type of contributor. We could use designers, people are interested in the UX and improving the user experience of Layout Builder. Right now, we have a pretty kind of bare bones implementation of it, but we'd love to work more on creating a really great layout and design experience for people. So we could use people who are interested in marketing, who would like to talk about and market Layout Builder. Definitely we could use documentation. There's a wide variety of modules out there and ways that people are using Layout Builder, and it would help to document all of those cases. And using social media to get the word out about those things, because even when we have documentation, people don't necessarily know that it exists or know where they can find the information. And we can always use people who have knowledge about accessibility to improve the accessibility of both the core modules and also the contrib modules as well. Because the goal really with a lot of these contrib module experiences is to see what people really need and then get that into core ultimately. And we definitely need accessibility help on that. And then, we also need developers to take all of those things and put them into code and get them working. So yeah, we have weekly meetings in the Easy Out of the Box Slack. So if you're in Drupal Slack, that's the channel that we're mostly hanging out in. We also have layouts Slack channel that's, I think, just #layouts. And if you have really key layout builder questions, you can ask there as well. But if you want to get involved and participate, then the Easy Out of the Box Slack is the best place to do that. And we meet Mondays at noon Eastern time. And yeah, it's and we're also in the issue queue with the #Easy Out of the Box and the #Layout Builder. So if you're looking for any issues related to Layout Builder, that's a good place to find them, or you could just ping someone in Slack and ask if we've heard of what you're running into. So thank you. And I am happy to take any questions about Layout Builder or the ecosystem.